Kananaskis country is a 2,000 square mile recreational area that is unique in the world, with recreational opportunities for Albertans during all 4 seasons of the year. The government of Alberta announced the creation of Kananaskis country in October 1977, setting aside the southern portion of the Bow Crow Forest Reserve as a recreational area, with the level of protection from development varying with location. All capital construction has been financed through the Alberta Heritage Savings Trust Fund. Kananaskis country is a diverse area bordered on the north by the Trans-Canada Highway, on the west by Banff National Park, and on the east by Southern Alberta ranches and farms, and is being developed according to a policy to integrate the widest possible range of recreational opportunities while ensuring the preservation of the environment. It could easily take weeks to explore the mountains, meadows, valleys, and lakes within Kananaskis country. However, if we travel by helicopter, we can do it in half an hour. This is Tamara Dale's first aerial tour of Kananaskis country, but it's certainly not Jim Lipinski's. He's been flying for almost 40 years and has been watching the development of Kananaskis country for 10.
Jim, what's so special about Mount Lorette Ponds in Kananaskis country?
Yes, the Mount Lorette Ponds were built about 3 to 4 years ago, and these ponds were designed especially for the handicapped people. If a person was confined to a wheelchair, they could come out there and fish along the edges of the lake right from their wheelchair, as there are paved sidewalks all around the lakes just for the handicapped people.
Mount Lorette is only one of numerous facilities in Kananaskis country accessible to handicapped Albertans. William Watson Lodge in Peter Lougheed Provincial Park was constructed to provide accommodation in the park for all handicapped citizens, and units are available for a small fee to any handicapped person or senior citizen, including their family or group. The history of what is now Kananaskis country is as rich as any area of Alberta. Evidence of the first inhabitants of the many valleys within the park has come to light through archaeological digs prompted by recent development, including highway construction. Because of the rapid pace of development, there was a certain sense of urgency to the digs, like this one in the Sheep Valley. The heavy equipment was moving steadily toward the site as archaeologists sifted tons of dirt that yielded valuable information about the valley's early occupants. Examples of obsidian like this were added to artifacts found in other locations to establish that the first residents of Kananaskis country arrived about 6,000 years ago. But to gather the evidence, some highway construction was held up, and in one case, the alignment of a secondary road within Kananaskis country was changed. From the time the first white man arrived in southern Alberta, the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains have been used for cattle grazing. Ranchers still run cattle throughout the summer in some designated areas of Kananaskis country. The cattle are turned loose in the spring in the Highwood and Sheep Valleys and are brought home in the traditional fall roundup that is as much a social event today as it was 100 years ago. Another traditional use of the land now contained within the borders of Kananaskis country is trail riding. Alberta outfitters are some of the beneficiaries of the forest being given park status. The high valleys in the Tombstone Mountain area were closed to all vehicle traffic when Kananaskis country was created in 1977, and the roads are beginning to disappear. Before the coming of the white man, what is now Kananaskis country was a sanctuary for dozens of birds and animals that now are few in number or on the verge of extinction. Not long after Kananaskis country was created, the Fish and Wildlife Division of the Department of Natural Resources, one of numerous government departments working within the park, moved to reintroduce several species of wildlife. The most important effort was to reintroduce the peregrine falcon to some of the rocky ridges found along deep river valleys in Kananaskis country. Biologists feel the falcon was at one time a resident of the area, and as part of the worldwide effort to save the peregrine from total extinction, began placing them in protected areas in the recreation area. The birds are hatched in a controlled situation, then placed in hack boxes on a cliff wall when they are only a few days old. They are fed until they are old enough to fend for themselves. Then they are allowed to fly free. The hope is that some of the peregrine falcons will return from their perilous migration to South America to roost in Kananaskis country. The program will be worth the time and cost if only a few visitors catch a glimpse of a peregrine falcon playing in the wind and diving at speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour.
Jim, what other animals have been brought back to Kananaskis country?
Up ahead of us, down the valley there towards Barrier Lake, just around that corner, you'll see a creek on the south end of Barrier, on the southeast end of Barrier Lake, and they brought in some river otters about 3 years ago, and I understand that family of otters is doing very well.
The otters were live trapped in northern Alberta and shipped to their new home in Kananaskis country. After a stop at the Calgary Zoo for an operation to implant a radio transmitter, each of the animals was released into a creek or directly into the Kananaskis River. Telemetry allowed biologists to collect data that will show whether the river otters will multiply in the Kananaskis Valley. Another small animal, thought to be an inhabitant of Kananaskis country before being totally trapped out, is the fisher. Again, they were live trapped in northern Alberta in winter and immediately taken to the Spray Valley, a few miles west of the Kananaskis Valley. Each fisher was equipped with a radio collar to allow biologists to assess the effectiveness of the reintroduction program. Fish and wildlife experts are attempting to reverse current trends and allow wildlife populations to increase. Several wildlife habitat improvement programs have been undertaken, like this one in the Kananaskis Valley. To replace the habitat consumed by the Kananaskis Golf Course and Mount Allen, 5 million board feet of lumber was removed from the opposite side of the valley, opening up a new winter feeding range for elk, moose, and deer. Because the creeks, streams, rivers, and lakes in the area are so cold, fish populations are difficult to sustain. Fish and wildlife officers regularly stock lakes and ponds with trout from the hatchery in Calgary to satisfy one of the main recreational demands of visitors to Kananaskis country. There are 10 put-and-take ponds and numerous high mountain lakes that are regularly stocked with trout.
Where are we now, Jim?
We're westbound on Ribbon Creek, presently at 6,500 feet. If you look ahead, you'll see the waterfalls coming down the end of the valley. Okay, we're going to go right up that waterfall. There's Ribbon Lake. And Ribbon Lake has just froze over in the last couple of days here. If you look closely over to the right, you'll see a park ranger's cabin. You see the little trail going over there to the right?
One of the major concerns when Kananaskis country was created was the possibility of dangerous encounters between bears and the millions of visitors who would come to the new recreational area. A program to monitor the movement of about 500 black bears who spend all their time in Kananaskis country and about 30 grizzly bears who wander Alberta, Montana, and British Columbia was launched. Bear biologist Brian Pelshaw conducted several years of research in order to learn what areas of Kananaskis country the bears frequented, their corridors of travel, and their feeding habits. With the data collected from radio collaring female bears and their cubs, planners discovered where not to construct facilities such as hiking trails, picnic sites, and campgrounds in order to minimize conflicts between man and bears. Not a single mauling has been reported since the creation of Kananaskis country, even during 2 Boy Scout jamborees that attracted a total of 40,000 scouts to the Bow Valley district. The helicopter has played a most important role in the development of Kananaskis country. In addition to transportation and servicing of remote locations such as forestry lookout towers, they are used to fight forest fires and always present danger in the mountains and foothills. To mitigate the disastrous effects of fire on the recreational potential of Kananaskis country, the Forestry Department has introduced an initial attack system. As the hazard rises, more men and helicopters are placed on alert, and at the highest level, an initial attack crew must be in the air within 3 minutes of receiving a call, and actually at work on the fire within 15 minutes, regardless of where the fire is in Kananaskis country. While the initial attack crew works with hand tools to prevent the fire from spreading, the helicopter speeds to the nearest pond or creek for water. With its 75-gallon bucket working on a small fire, more often than not, the fire is quickly brought under control.
Are helicopters ever used to rescue people?
Yes, there's, since Kananaskis country has been formed, there's been at least 5 or 6 rescues that I know about. Example, there's a lot of hiking trails, and people will sometimes run into difficulty with sprained ankles and broken legs and falling down rocks and things like that. So we take them directly to the hospital with the helicopter.
In fact, Kananaskis country is on the leading edge of mountain rescue techniques, using methods introduced and developed jointly with park wardens in Banff National Park. The number of people hiking and climbing is increasing rapidly, with the number of rescues rising proportionately. Many of the rescues Kananaskis country rangers are faced with are extremely dangerous because of bad weather, darkness, and difficult terrain. When there is any degree of urgency, rangers initiate a helicopter rescue like this one on Mount Yamnuska, a popular rock climbing area for Calgarians. And as more and more people discover the recreational opportunities on water within Kananaskis country, rangers are developing special techniques for water rescue. While boating, fishing, and windsurfing on the Kananaskis lakes appear to be quite safe, the growing popularity of canoeing and kayaking on the many fast rivers within Kananaskis country has resulted in several accidents. Rangers are being trained in rescue operations in deep canyons and in helicopter rescue techniques in fast-flowing rivers.
Jim, what do you think is the prettiest place in Kananaskis country?
That's a very tough question, Tamara. Kananaskis country is a very beautiful place. It's hard to put your finger on the prettiest one. But I think the valley where the golf course is very nice. Also down around Kananaskis Lakes. And for those people that like snow and glaciers, the Hague and Robertson Glacier just west of Smith Dorrien is a very pretty sight. And it depends on the seasons too, the spring and fall. In the fall we have some beautiful colors on the eastern slopes.
Fall is perhaps the best season in Kananaskis country. It offers brilliant colors and crisp, cool air while camping, hiking, fishing, or just enjoying the magnificent landscape. The artist's brush is not the only instrument capturing the Kananaskis country fall colors. More and more production companies from across Canada, the United States, and Europe are discovering the natural beauty of the Rocky Mountains. And despite the changeable weather, the number of major motion pictures being shot in Kananaskis country is growing yearly. The jewels of Kananaskis country are the Kananaskis Lakes that lie in the heart of the recreational area. They are the focal point of the provincial park that was created in 1975 and renamed to honor retiring Premier Peter Lougheed in 1985. The flow of water from the Kananaskis Lakes has been used for power generation since the 1930s, but remain a recreational treasure for all sorts of water sports. The development of Kananaskis country ranks with the most controversial capital projects ever undertaken in Alberta. In the early 80s, it was attacked by the legislative opposition and environmental groups as a park that cost hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayers' money that somehow would only benefit the elite. The finished product was characterized in cartoons as Alberta's Coney Island with valleys of pavement. Nothing could have been further from the truth. The many facilities in Kananaskis country include a 36-hole championship golf course that is open to the public. It was built at a cost of $12 million and is operated by a private company. For those who wish to stay in Kananaskis country, there is a wide range of accommodation in Kananaskis Village. The village, surrounded by miles of hiking and bicycle paths, is located on a bench overlooking the golf course and adjacent to Nakiska, the ski resort on Mount Allen. In addition to the 3 hotels, the village center caters to day visitors with showers and whirlpool for hikers and cross-country skiers. Kananaskis country developed the infrastructure for the village, and the hotels are operated by private companies. So is the Mount Kidd Recreational Vehicle Park, a $4 million campground adjacent to the golf course. It has 230 service lots, some with power, water, sewer, and cable television. It is open year-round and campsites can be reserved. These facilities are connected by an off-highway bicycle path that runs adjacent to the Kananaskis Highway. The bicycle path is paved and doubles as a cross-country ski trail in winter. The number of Albertans who have visited Kananaskis country during the winter months has been astounding. Downhill and cross-country skiing, Ice fishing, skating, and a weekend drive to enjoy the wintry scenes are some of the reasons tens of thousands are attracted on winter weekends. 3 billion people were introduced to Kananaskis country during the 15th Olympic Winter Games held in the Calgary area when they saw television coverage of the alpine and Nordic ski events. The Canmore Nordic Center was built especially for the Olympic Games and was the venue for all cross-country ski and biathlon events. To guarantee the facility would be ready for Olympic competition, Kananaskis country made mountains of snow and spread it over the ski trails in the weeks leading up to the first events. When the games arrived, skies were blue, temperatures were mild, and the trees that lined the competition trails protected athletes from the wind. Without exception, Olympic athletes and officials agreed that Kananaskis country has a world-class facility at the Canmore Nordic Center. Mount Allen, one of 2 recreational ski resorts in Kananaskis country, was the venue for all alpine ski events during the Calgary Olympic Games. Despite high winds that forced some delays in the schedule, the mountain came through with flying colors, proving itself as a competition ski facility. The men's downhill on Mount Allen was a classic duel between 2 Swiss skiers, Pirmin Zurbriggen and Peter Mueller. Peter Mueller skied first and skied Mount Allen flawlessly. He waited while his teammates skied the course just as well and a half-second faster. Pirmin Zurbriggen won the gold on Mount Allen. Thanks to the Olympic Games, people from all over the world have discovered Kananaskis country. And everyone agrees that Canadians who live in Alberta are very fortunate to have this recreational wonder at their back door.
Thanks for the tour, Jim.
You're welcome, Tamara.